Now at 10 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, Seadrift's government turmoil, a second official steps down. Victoria firefighters recovering after multiple structure burns. The fire marshal searches for answers. And the future of immigration raid is now in focus, how a recent Supreme Court decision changes the debate.
Well, we had a single isolated thunderstorm roll across the 59 corridor, but relatively with sunny skies this evening. We're going to be talking about the weekend forecast, plus a little change for next week coming up.
One top shiner softball makes her big-time commitment. I'll tell you who that is later on in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 10. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker. Shauna Curry's off tonight. New at 10, an Amber Alert issued for a missing 4-year-old girl in San Antonio. Leah Calderon was last seen in the 11,300 block of Roselle Drive on the northeast side of San Antonio at 5:02 Thursday morning. Authorities believe she is with 34-year-old Brittany Zapata. They may be traveling in a white 2020 Nissan Kicks with license plate number VTJ 8610. Authorities say the vehicle also has front end damage and the roof of the car is black. Anyone with any information is urged to contact the San Antonio Police Department at 210-207-7660. Victoria Police are investigating the death of a man found in a parking lot. Just after midnight this morning, Victoria Police were called to a business on the 2000 block of East North Street for a welfare check. Officers found 46-year-old Benny Morales deceased in the parking lot. Detectives are now investigating his death with an autopsy pending to determine the exact cause. Police say there's no sign of foul play. The city of Seadrift is now looking to fill 2 key positions after resignations from Public Works Director Gino Alshier and City Secretary Wendell Netzer. Netzer announced her resignation during last night's special meeting. In one of her final actions, she addressed an agenda item that would bring in express employment professionals to handle the city's hiring process, including for the recently vacated director and secretary roles. She says her decision to step down comes from feeling unsafe while serving in the position.
Citizens, some of them, I feel uneasy. It's almost an unnervous hatred that I'm almost scared to go home. I'm getting caught up in drama that I don't want to be in. I've already retired. I worked for the Boeing Company for 30 years. I'm being sued, and I've only been in this state for 1 year and in this city for 30 days. I really love being here, and I actually love this job, but it's that bad.
Netzer says the contractors will take 20% of a new hire's salary as a finder's fee, but if the employee quits within 60 days, they'll find a replacement for free. The city does not have to use the company for every hire. Alderman Tracy Johnson says she hopes the city can convince Netzer to stay. The council also approved the new budget to include eliminating the city's only patrol officer position. Heroes were honored in Calhoun County tonight during a special celebration at Sand Crab Stadium. Calhoun County ISD hosted its first military and first responder appreciation night. First responders and veterans were treated to dinner, music, and recognition for their service. Later, honorees walked onto the field alongside the Calhoun football team to be recognized during the national anthem. A massive American flag, you saw it there, waved from a Formosa Plastics ladder fire truck. And the U.S. Coast Guard from Naval Station Corpus Christi did a flyover. There you see it.
It's so great to be able to honor, the community members, our firefighters, our police officers, all those kinds of people, and certainly our veterans. We have, every branch of the military, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, Space Force, Coast Guard, everything is represented here tonight.
Organizers say the event is the first of its kind for the district, and they hope it will become a lasting tradition. The Victoria County Fire Marshal looking into what caused a large fire in Placido. When firefighters arrived early this morning, multiple buildings, including one occupied home, were already burning. Crews worked quickly to protect 2 nearby homes, and both were saved. No civilians were hurt. 1 firefighter was treated for heat exhaustion and returned to duty. A Yoakum man faces charges of aggravated sexual assault of a child and indecency with a child, sexual contact. Using a warrant, Yoakum police arrested 33-year-old Jesse Stem. The aggravated sexual assault of a child charge is from Yorktown. Stem is in the DeWitt County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. Bay City Police and Brazoria County Crime Stoppers are offering reward money for information on 4 unsolved homicides in Bay City. The murder of Lawyer Fields III dates back to 2017. They also need information on the 2018 murder of David Zepeda and the murders in 2020 of Brooke Kennedy and Desmond Murphy. Only tips and calls directly to Crime Stoppers are anonymous and eligible for a cash reward. Crime Stoppers may pay up to $5,000 for information leading to an arrest. You can call Crime Stoppers at 800-460-2222. A telecommunications outage in Dallas caused some travel problems. The FAA says air traffic controllers lost radar and some communications Friday afternoon. The FAA says the outage was due to a local telephone company equipment issue. As of Friday afternoon, hundreds of flights at Dallas-Fort Worth International and Dallas Love Field airports were delayed. DFW is the 3rd busiest airport in the world. Governor Greg Abbott today joined the Vaqueros del Mar Texas Flood Relief Fund to present checks to families in the Concho Valley impacted by the catastrophic 4th of July floods. This event is the 4th Governor Abbott has attended to present checks to families whose primary homes were damaged or destroyed. The funds come from the Straight to the Heart benefit concert earlier this summer, hosted by George Strait. The concert raised over $6 million to help support flood-impacted Texans. Time to check on our weather. Let's go to Jacob Lozano with a first look at the forecast. Thank you, Jacob, for another rain-free Friday night for high school football.
That's right, Don. It was rain-free for us, but there was some rain there in Ganado. I remember I was down in Calhoun County for the Sand Crabs football game there. And I remember just looking out to the distance, temperatures were a bit warm, and I just saw a big layer of cloud cover pick up there, and I was like, it's got to be around the Edna region, and that surely was. It was a big thunderstorm that had rolled through, isolated, and it went right over 59 and then began to collapse on itself and eventually just died off there. But there was left a good amount of rain there for them. About an inch of rain had fallen in the area there, about an inch right there, about closer to a little over half an inch just south of Ganado. But it didn't really affect the football game all too much. It ended up rolling out past there right around 7 o'clock or so. But that was pretty much that 10% chance of rain we were talking about. Just ended up right there over Jackson County. But future radar, we're looking at a couple little showers picking up here in the morning time along the coastline, and they'll once again pick up here right around the afternoon, evening time. 2 p.m. is probably that time frame. We may see a little isolated shower or thunderstorm pick up for us. But as we go on through the evening, it'll begin to dissipate here for us as daytime cooling takes place. But we are talking about a bit of a pattern shift for next week, and I'll be talking about that in the full weather update. Don?
Jacob, thank you. The Victoria unemployment rate rose in August. The Victoria unemployment rate last month was 4.9%. That is up from 4.3% in July and up 0.4 of a point from a year ago. Over 300 more people were unemployed in Victoria in August than in July. A Victoria resident says she's had enough of stray dogs taking over her neighborhood and even her own yard. Leslie Kukurik lives on Goldman Street. She says she called Victoria Animal Control hoping the dogs would be picked up and taken to a shelter. The dogs are not her pets, and she does not know who they belong to. Instead, she says she was handed 4 citations for failing to vaccinate the dogs, and now she does not know what to do.
Called animal control because there's like so many dogs roaming in and they're coming to my home, and they've been going into everybody's yards. And right now, like I called animal control. I thought they were going to take them, but instead I'm getting blamed, and they're blaming it on me. They're pinning it on me that they're my dogs, but I can't afford to provide for these dogs, and now I have to appear in court.
Kukurik says Animal Services told her that since she fed the dogs, they now legally belong to her. We've reached out to Victoria Animal Services for comment, but have not heard back yet. Here's a viewer poll tonight. What's the biggest concern with roaming dogs in neighborhoods? Overwhelmingly, we're talking about over 80%, 81% of our voters saying Safety of residents. Not even a close second, health and vaccinations at 9%. We want to hear from you. Visit crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we thank you for voting. Texas A&M College Station President Mark Welsh is stepping down. This comes after political backlash over the way Welsh dealt with an incident that took place during a children's literature course. Video shows a student confronting the course lecturer, Dr. Melissa McCool, about gender ideology. The student accuses the instructor of recognizing more than two genders. Governor Greg Abbott called for the instructor's firing. Welsh ended up firing McCool. She is appealing the termination. As the Trump administration ramps up immigration enforcement nationwide, many civil rights groups are speaking out over the tactics used. Their concerns include agents concealing their identities and driving unmarked vehicles. Maribel Gonzalez spoke to legal experts who explain what your rights are during an ICE encounter as an immigrant or a bystander.
When it comes to immigration raids, conversations centered around due process or proper protocols are not just happening among community members. These are also being addressed in court. In fact, earlier this month, the Supreme Court ruled that the so-called roving raids here in Southern California could continue, allowing agents to stop people based on certain factors like ethnicity, language, or their presence at a particular location.
We need construction to cease immediately.
475 workers were detained in an immigration raid at Hyundai's battery plant in Georgia this month, marking the largest operation of its kind in recent years. The Trump administration vows there will be more.
President Trump's been clear we're going to prioritize public safety threats and national security threats.
But many advocates and civil rights groups are critical of the tactics used in immigration raids, including masked officers.
If you're not doing anything illegal, you should have no problem whatsoever saying your name, your badge number, the agency you're with.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, says its officers wear masks to protect their safety and will identify themselves when required for public safety or legal necessity.
There's frustration over people wearing masks and throwing people into vans in a way that does not seem American to me. It does not seem constitutional to me.
Legal experts say that no matter their legal status, everyone is entitled to protection from unreasonable search and seizure and excessive use of force under the U.S. Constitution's Fourth Amendment. ICE says everyone it arrests receives due process. And if you witness any of these raids,
You don't want to get in their way because then you may be accused of obstructing their law enforcement activity. But recording from a safe distance is absolutely lawful and protected activity.
Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security said last month it received over 100,000 applications in less than 2 weeks from people who want to join ICE. The agency says funding via the so-called Big Beautiful Bill is offering new incentives. Reporting from Los Angeles, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
Today, President Trump announced another lethal military strike in international waters. On social media, he posted video of the strike that targeted a vessel operating in U.S. Southern Command's area. You see it right there, which includes Central America, South America, and the Caribbean. Trump said the watercraft was affiliated with a designated terrorist organization and on a known narco-trafficking route. He said 3 people on board were killed, but no U.S. forces were harmed. A coastal Crossroads community is gearing up to celebrate history as work moves forward on restoring a mansion that stood for more than a century. Bill Clough has more.
It was a Cat 4. John Metz, chief meteorologist at the U.S. Weather Bureau station in Corpus Christi, remembers it well.
The winds initially came from the northeast, but as the storm passed, they shifted to the west, with damaging gusts continuing for nearly 4 hours.
Long enough to turn the pride of the town, the John Wood Mansion, built in 1875, into a parallelogram. Tim Delaney is the chairman of the Bayside Historical Society.
Several people figured it was done for and said just tear it down.
Not so fast. The society got a grant, along with private donations, to straighten it, and now there's a new owner, San Antonio contractor and businessman John Breeden. He has plans.
With the help of the Bayside Historic Society, procured a grant after we purchased it. I know from my experience in remodel and restoration work that I could turn this thing into something beautiful.
In addition to renting rooms upstairs, he plans a museum dedicated to the mansion's original owner, Texas patriot John Wood, and a venue for marriages, parties, cooking classes, and community and corporate meetings. Restoration is expensive. Breeden is still about $300,000 short.
We're landing about the $1 million range on the restoration.
Tomorrow afternoon, the Society is sponsoring a fundraiser. County and city officials will start the festivities, followed by a silent auction, a 50-50 raffle, a barbecue, a magic show, and concerts by 2 bands.
It's also the 150th anniversary of the building, and we want to honor that.
The anniversary is a really important date for Bayside. I think it's the oldest building in Refugio County.
The community celebration and fundraiser start at 2 p.m. tomorrow at the Wood Mansion. Texas cities and counties large and small have had to pinch pennies as economic uncertainty, inflation, strict state limits on property tax collections, and uncertainty around future federal funds have crimped their budgets. To read this full Texas Tribune article, visit our website, crossroadstoday.com. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. Then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 10. Senator Cruz sounds an alarm over an FCC decision, why the move is drawing attention from lawmakers. Also ahead, campus life at UVU gets a heartwarming boost, how students and staff are finding support.
Here's a look at what you could expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from Gulf Bend, the Zaragoza Society, the Victoria Public Library, and Victoria College.
And coming up, the next step is to give scholarships for our students that are going in. So this new course is going to be $2,800. That scholarship can cover up to $2,500 of that tuition.
Cruz on Friday said the FCC chairman's threat to revoke ABC's broadcast license over comments made by Jimmy Kimmel was, quote, dangerous as hell, unquote. ABC indefinitely suspended Kimmel after Brendan Carr condemned his monologue about the man accused of killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Cruz, who called Kimmel's firing a, quote, fantastic thing, unquote, added Carr's involvement sets a dangerous precedent. A group of students and community members at Utah Valley University handed out flowers Friday morning to spread love and positivity on campus. This comes a little over a week after political activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at UVU.
Would you like a flower? A flower for each person on campus. That's Lane Balkensted's goal.
To help them feel loved and appreciated.
Spreading the love and positivity on a campus that went through a tragedy just over a week ago.
I was here just at the event at UVU, and it was a really tough time for me.
The event where conservative activist Charlie Kirk was shot and killed in the middle of campus.
The friend group that I kind of had behind me and supporting me, they made it a lot easier for me to be able to overcome those difficult moments.
Students returned to class on Wednesday. Balkensted said there's a heaviness.
Kind of been a dreary.
Now he says it's time to give back.
Not all students here at UVU have that same support group behind them. So me and my co-founder, Zach Mitchell, we kind of came together and we said, what can we do to try to just bless the lives of those around us? And
They created Hugs Not Hate, where they support students and staff with positivity and flowers from local flower shops.
Studies that show that flowers can just really improve people's lives. And
He says their goal is to make Hugs Not Hate a nonprofit, spreading this act of service across Utah and eventually the country.
Service things such as this to try to bring joy and love and compassion to the different communities who may be going through turmoil or just difficult situations.
There will be a prayer vigil Saturday night at 8 at the Victoria Field of Honor for all victims of violence. A prayer and worship night honoring Charlie Kirk will take place Saturday night from 6 to 8 at Riverside Park, 407 Memorial Drive. Lavaca County will also hold a prayer vigil for Charlie Kirk this Sunday, 6 to 7 p.m. at the St. Peter Lutheran Church, 100 North Promenade Street in Hallettsville. For frail seniors, faster feet may mean a stronger body. Here's tonight's Medical Minute.
According to a study in the Public Library of Science 1 journal, walking speed could be a reliable way for improving fitness in older adults. Researchers followed seniors over a 3-month period and found that those who picked up the pace by an additional 14 steps per minute to about 100 steps per minute had greater gains in strength and endurance compared to other seniors walking at a more casual speed of about 77 steps per minute. Even small increases in walking speed can help keep you spry, the study suggested. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention recommends all adults, including those 65 and older, get at least 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, in addition to 2 strength training sessions per week. It's a good idea to check in with your doctor before starting an exercise program and consider joining a walking group or using a fitness app that tracks speed, steps, and mileage to help keep you motivated. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Adon.
The De Leon Club of Victoria will celebrate local leaders during Hispanic Heritage Month. The annual Hispanic Recognition Celebration is happening next Thursday at Texas A&M University Victoria. The event kicks off at 6:30 with hors d'oeuvres, followed by live entertainment and the main program at 7:30. This year's honorees are Commissioner Danny Garcia, Joe Garcia, and Amanda Martinez. The celebration will be held in the Galvan Multi-Purpose Room on campus.
Well, temperatures today were 93 degrees, but it could be worse. It could be 103. That was back in 1912. But we are watching a possible frontal system to make it down here in the Crossroads, and I'll be talking about that coming up after the break. Crossroads. It's not, hurricane season is not just over yet. We're going to be talking about some more tropical activity here picking up. First, let's take a look at Gabrielle as a tropical storm, 50-mile-per-hour winds. Expecting to take that loop around there with the high pressure steering, as well as a frontal system that's going to kind of help push that out towards sea. It's looking like it's going to be around Category 2 status as it makes its way out towards the Atlantic. But we do have another 20% chance for development. It's got a little bit of work to get into the yellow zone, which is the development zone, where we could see some minor development here as it makes its way across the Atlantic Ocean there off of the coast of Africa, of course. Now, this is what we're watching. Remnants of Mario over the California coastline, and that's actually going to be playing a bit of a factor in a lot of what's going on here in the United States. Now, we got low pressure up north around the Iowa region, as well as the remnants there. You can see that low pressure there just off the west coast of California, and we got high pressure over us here, and that's actually going to be shifting a little bit more west. there kind of will help out with some of the shower activity picking up here on Sundays. We can start to see a little bit of a dip there within the pressure change. So if we go by layers, by color, higher pressure down south, a little bit lower pressure up north, and then these little pockets right there, that's obviously indicating area of counterclockwise circulation, also known as low pressure system. Now getting towards Monday, now we got 3 low pressure systems popping up here. Still watching the remnants of Mario, kind of just sitting over there around the Los Angeles, Southern California region. But this is what we're watching right here. Got the area right there in Montana, as well as the area just north of Minnesota and Wisconsin there. And as we get later into the week, we see the area that was up north around Montana making its way down towards the Colorado region. And then we start to see a little bit of a shift here within that low pressure up north around Indiana. And meanwhile, those remnants are still just sitting over there around the California region. But we watched this right here. We watched the one around Denver, Colorado pick up there, as well as the high pressure pick up here. And the high pressure will once again move out south. But then we have a pretty big, strong area of low pressure just north of us here around the Missouri region and the Illinois region. And that's going to help possibly bring down a frontal system for us here on Thursday and help bring in some northerly winds that'll help dry us out for later next week. So that's something we could look forward to for the week. But along with that, we could see some rain development here for us here. So taking a look at Future Tracker, Sunday we'll be picking up a couple little showers off the sea breeze there, especially in the afternoon, evening time. But as we head towards later in the week there, Tuesday, Wednesday, we start to see the frontal boundary start to make its way down south there. And by Wednesday afternoon, start to see it make its way down along the I-10 corridor. And by 4 a.m. Thursday, there it is, right along the 59 corridor. As the frontal system could bring some decent rain for us here as we head into next week. And by the afternoon time Thursday, it should be making its way down south there. But it brings in those northerly winds. That'll definitely be beneficial for us here because, look at this, temperatures are still going to be relatively warm over the weekend. 73 degrees in the morning, getting to 89 here for Victoria by about lunchtime. And then we're back up to 92, 93 degrees, jumping around the mid-90s as well. As well as Sunday, we'll be seeing those same conditions. And well, the next 5 days, it's going to be relatively warm as well. But for your daily planner, though, going to be keeping it partly cloudy with a little 20% chance for some shower activity for your day, as well as Port Lavaca seeing those conditions as well. Southeasterly winds picking up at about 10 to 12 miles per hour, as well as Cuero getting up there. But rain chances do increase as the frontal system begins to approach, as temperatures will likely diminish there after the front. Now don't forget, scan the QR code for more news, weather, and sports. And speaking of sports, Max, I was down in Calhoun County, and what a game, man.
Yeah, I mean, what a game obviously there was down there for Calhoun, Jacob, but we have a lot of great kind of games that we're going to look at here for week 4. And I'm going to reveal 3 of those games coming up here in a matter of moments in sports. So don't go anywhere. All right, everyone, in just 7 minutes time, we're going to get to week 4 Crossroads Football Live. We got some great games to kind of highlight here going into this week. But For now, though, we're going to reveal 3 scores before tonight's show. Remember, all these scores I'm going to mention you will not see during our Week 4 show starting in 7 minutes. So let's start off first with Rice Consolidated facing Hallettsville, and the Brahmas would get their first win of the season, winning 34-27 over Rice Consolidated. For the Brahmas, they will face Beeville Jones at home next week, which Beeville Jones actually faced Victoria West, and you'll see how they did in that contest there later on. Now over to Columbia, they faced the Yoakum Bulldogs, and the Yoakum took care of business, now winning 23-21. They are officially 3-1 this season, and the Bulldogs, they're going to travel out to Austin Hyde Park there next week. And then finally over now to Bloomington, as again the Bobcats would lose this game to the Van Fleck Leopards and lose their first game of the season 44-7 for Bloomington. They're hoping to kind of just improve because they travel to out to Danbury next week, which will start up district play. And now we're going to go over to softball real fast and highlight Shiners Haley Raddick, who verbally committed further education and athletic career at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach. And Raddick was a huge part of the Shiner Lady Comanches run last year to be state runner-ups, and hoping she can maybe finish her senior season up strong. They're beginning there back in late February there for the Lady Comanches. And that's going to do it here in sports. Don, back to you.
Thank you, Max. Don't touch that dial. CFL coming in a matter of minutes. Stay with us. Coming up on 25 News Now at 10. We'll take a last look at your weather. Plus, it's time for Cincinnati's annual Wiener Dog Race. See which ones cut the mustard. By Pablo Picasso, Unseen for 80 Years, will be up for auction next month. It's titled Bust of a Woman in a Flowery Hat. It depicts French artist Dora Maar wearing a bright flowery hat made up of pastel strokes. The newly discovered portrait was created in 1943 during the Nazi occupation of Paris. An unnamed collector bought it in 1944, and it has remained in his family ever since. Auction house Lucien Paris is selling the painting on October 24th. When Henry Wilson went to school in Brockton, Massachusetts this morning, he had no idea how wonderful this day would be. During a school assembly, Henry thought he was being awarded for being an outstanding citizen, but even more outstanding, his dad, Sergeant Stephen Wilson, who had been deployed with the Army in Poland since 2024, showed up. Stephen said he's most looking forward to watching races with his sons. Henry says he just wants to play with his dad. Quick update on the weather, sir.
Yes. I honestly like when I have rain percentages on the 7-day. You know,
yeah, there you go.
Hope. So 30% here as we head outside of the weekend, and we're waiting a frontal system to move in here Wednesday night into Thursday morning. Could help also increase our rain chances within the nighttime there. But we're going to keep it garden variety for the afternoon, evening, as well as temperatures in mid to low 90s for us.
All right, thank you, Jacob. And finally tonight is the annual Running of the Wieners, one of the most popular events during Cincinnati's Oktoberfest celebration. 100 dachshund pups, each dressed in hot dog bun costumes, looking to claim the title fastest wiener dog in Cincinnati. And in the end, there really were no losers, just wieners. Roughly 800,000 people expected to attend the always popular Oktoberfest Cincinnati, which runs through Sunday. Hey, thanks so much for joining us. Join 25 News Now and CrossroadsToday.com this weekend. Stay tuned. Crossroads Football Live, the latest and the greatest Texas high school football. Have a great weekend, everybody.